Welcome. Today I wanted to do a yin practice that is focused on opening the bladder sinew meridian. And the reason why this particular meridian is so important is because it rules your ability to be flexible and to be able to extend yourself out into the world. But it also plays a major role in terms of your stress overall, as well as your immune system. So the first thing that happens when you encounter what's known in Chinese medicine as an external pathogenic factor, meaning that something in your environment shifts, like there's too much cold or too much wind, is that pathogen enters through the back of your neck. And as it enters the back of your neck, it starts to lock up the bladder sinew meridian. So the bladder sinew meridian runs through the hips, the pelvis, but mostly it goes through the back of your body, through the backs of your legs. And you may notice in your life that when you're in periods of extreme stress, these are the areas of the body that tend to get the most tense. And so when we free the bladder sinew meridian, one of the first things that happens is your immune function becomes a little bit more active. So in Chinese medicine, the sinew meridians are conduits of what's known as Wei Qi. And Wei Qi is the defensive qi that runs along the surface of your body. The bladder is your first line of defense. And because it's the first line of defense, it's very susceptible anytime there's an external pathogenic factor that comes in. So beyond just the external environment and how it affects you internally when you're under a lot of stress or you're going through a period of uncertainty, like you may be right now, the bladder tends to get very tense, the bladder meridian, meaning that the back of your neck, the backs of your shoulders, the lower back, the backs of your legs all tense up. And what happens is this inhibits your ability to extend yourself out into the world. And when you're not able to extend yourself into the world, then you're not able to fully move freely. You're not able to be flexible. You're not able to flow. You feel like something's always holding you back. You may feel pain when you walk. You may feel discomfort when you're just trying to do any type of activity that involves extension, even reaching your arm out. So what we're going to do in this practice is we're going to do a few Yin Yoga postures. They're all seated, so you really need nothing but the floor. You can, of course, use a mat anytime you want to, but what we're going to do is we're going to use this time to try to free up the bladder sinew meridian. And I'm just going to give you a few poses to do this. I think you'll notice a difference right away. Another thing that happens when this channel is very tense is that you're going to be caught in this sensation of fight or flight. So you'll be really, really tired, exhausted, right? Winded. But when you try to rest, you can't really calm down. And that's this adrenal exhaustion that has the paired symptoms of severe fatigue and the inability to rest. So when you relax the bladder sinew meridian, a lot of that adrenal fatigue will start to settle as well. And the first sign you may notice is not that you're necessarily more relaxed, but that you're really, really tired, because all of that energy that's been pent up has now been released and freed from the body, and now all you want to do is sleep. So the first pose we're going to be doing is basically a basic forward bend. So you're going to just sit comfortably on the floor, extend your legs. Now, in the traditional yoga postures, you would want to sit tall at first, extend forward, and try to bring yourself as far forward as you can using a lot of muscular tension. But because we're going to be doing this posture in a yin style, I'm going to encourage you to relax as much as you can. So once you flex your feet, just to get used to this, you're going to actually relax the feet. You'll still feel that pull through the back of your legs. That's the area through which the bladder meridian runs. Your upper body, though you do want to extend it, is going to be really soft and relaxed. You may even notice as you do this forward bend that the rhythm of your breathing begins to slow down, that it begins to shift slightly. So when you're in these poses, you kind of pull in what's known as Uddiyana Bandha, which is the abdominal lock. So you kind of suction your abdomen back towards your spine, and that gives you a little bit more space to bend forward. You can lay your hands on your knees, your thighs, your shins. If it's comfortable, you can reach for your feet, but it's not necessary, especially if that tends to tighten up the upper back. You don't want that. So instead, you might want to just relax the upper back, relax the shoulders. Now just listen to your breath. That nice deep Ujjayi breathing. That's much slower, more controlled than your natural inhales and exhales. There is a slight rounding. You may find that you feel like your posture is not quite right in this pose, but this is kind of what you want. You want to drape your upper body over your thighs. If it feels comfortable, you can drop your head, but not if that strains your neck. You can simply gaze forward, continue to allow your body to pull forward a little bit more with every exhalation. Keep pulling the abdomen in. And the other thing I should have mentioned, but you can kind of correct yourself even as you're coming forward here, is that you want to kind of be sitting on the inner side of your sits bones. So if you need to pull the flesh of your bottom out to go a little bit deeper, you can do that. It's not about pushing yourself deeper into the posture. It's more about, in Yin, we allow ourselves to receive the pose. So we go deeper and deeper with time as we create space in the physical body. And traditionally, especially when you first learn this practice, you want to hold each pose for about 3 to 5 minutes, which at first might seem like an eternity, but it gets more and more relaxing over time as the mind clears up. At first, the irritation is really a resistance, so you want to just be present with that. Stay calm with that. Take deep, full breaths. Maybe try elongating your inhales and then exhaling, letting yourself go deeper. Let's take about 5 or 6 more breaths here. Listening for that Ujjayi breath. Relaxing your neck, your face, your feet, your hands, any muscles that may be holding unnecessary tension. Let's do one more breath, inhale and exhale. Going into your deepest, most relaxed version of the posture. Before you use the next inhalation to pull yourself gently up. And then exhale. Now, of course, we want to counter the pose a little bit, so you're going to pull your knees in so we don't hold on to any of the tension that may have accumulated through doing that pose. And if you want, what you can do is kind of put your hands back behind you and lift your buttocks up. If you can go all the way up, but you don't have to do that. If you do, you want to make sure your knees are right over the ankles. Otherwise, just kind of lift up, release the back, drop, and then pull your knees in. Allow the head to drop, so you take a few moments to just rest. Notice any areas in your body where you may still be holding. See what you can do to let them go with your breathing. And then continuing to work to free the Bladder Sinew Meridian, we're going to do another posture, which is known, I think, in the Yin tradition as half dragonfly. But basically what you're going to do is just extend one leg forward, and that leg is going to be perfectly straight. The other knee is going to bend. So you first pull that knee in so that it's close to your body, and then you allow that knee to drop out to the side. Now, for some of you, you may not have the flexibility to be able to let the knee drop all the way down, and if that's the case for you, you can place a cushion or a blanket or something to give yourself support. The most important thing is that you're kind of even across the two sides of your body so that your hips are level. Again, you want to pull the flesh of your bottom out so you're more focused on sitting in the inner side of your sits bones. Your foot in the front leg is relaxed. You want to extend forward, relax your upper back with your inhale. And then as you exhale, that's when you begin to drape your body forward. And the extension occurs over the front leg, the one that's straight, right? The foot is soft now, and you want to keep the upper back nice and relaxed. You almost feel like your scapula are pulling apart or opening so that you can create more space in the upper part of your back. I'm sure you can hear our fur baby Crystal trying to scare someone off in the background there. And you may at home have your own distractions. So the yin practice is really a great way to drop in. And it's not about finding total peace. It's about learning to be with what is, which ultimately is what peace is, right? It's not about changing your experience necessarily, at least not by force. Because the true change, the real transformation, whether it's physical or mental, comes through acceptance. By being able to breathe into your experience and maybe visualizing what you would like to create or have. Bringing awareness to your thought process, to your now experience. And this is kind of the beauty of this practice, is by releasing the tension through the meridians, you're able to drop in more effectively. You're able to find the posture that then allows you to, bit by bit, free yourself from tension, to free yourself from inhibition. And really find the peace that you can experience when you're fully present in each moment. Because remember that bladder is about moving ahead. But if you move too quickly, your bladder meridian will tense up. Something will try to stop you, to slow you down. Take 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, use your inhale to bring yourself up. And your exhale to relax. You may feel a difference between the two sides because obviously we've only worked one side. Doesn't matter which side you begin on. You can just rock side to side. You can bring your knees in. It's always important to take time in your transitions with your yin practice because you're holding a pose for such an extended period of time that it's easy to accumulate tension. And so you really want to make sure that you're really easy. You've gone so deep into the connective tissue that you don't want to jump right out of a pose. You don't want to transition too quickly. Taking deep breaths will of course help you stay connected to those movements that you make so that you don't injure yourself. Okay, and then the other side. So whatever knee you had pulled in last time is going to be your extended leg, and then the other knee pulls forward. And as you can see, I'm kind of like almost about to step up onto this leg, onto this foot that's underneath me, and I can use that leverage to find kind of the base of my sits bone on this side and then roll the flesh of the other side out, so I'm more on the inner side of that sits bone. So I have nice support on both sides that'll keep me even. Now again, if this, you're always going to be different across the two sides, but if you drop this knee and it just kind of floats up here, first of all, you might have to do more standing work to open the hips, which you can do in some of my other videos. But you want to really get the hips open so that you can sit more comfortably in these postures. But in the meantime, you can also place a cushion underneath so you're not straining yourself to maintain the position, especially when we do it for a few minutes at a time. If you're where I am, you're just going to create kind of a 90-degree angle with your legs and let that knee fully drop so that the calf muscle kind of rolls out as well. And then you can turn yourself slightly toward the extended leg and just gently let yourself drape down. It really doesn't matter where your arms lay as long as there's no tension. It's a nice deep inhale and exhale. The shoulders are relaxed. Your jaw is really soft. A lot of times when we tell ourselves to relax the muscles of the body, we forget that there's so many muscles in the jaw and the face that also can be relaxed, that we often unnecessarily tighten or tense up. So just be mindful of that. And remember, you're still engaging that Uddiyana Bandha, that abdominal lock, kind of pulling in and using that kind of leverage to release your lower back more, to give you more freedom to relax in the entire spine. The extended foot is relaxed. It's not tense, but it's also pushing out more toward the heel side of the foot. You'll feel the stretch all along the back of your leg, also through the back. That's really the entire bladder meridian that's relaxing, the musculature through that region. Relax your shoulders. Deepen your breaths. Your exhales will naturally be deeper when you're bending forward, so really focus on extending your inhales as well. Neck soft. Remember that as you release this channel, you're also allowing yourself to have the natural defenses. The Wei Qi will be strong and not so locked up, not so bound up. You're not always going to have to be on the defensive because your body is more relaxed. You'll be more present and alert to be able to respond to whatever comes into your life rather than to react to it. That comes whenever you're really stressed or tense, is when we react more. Let's take about 5 more breaths at your own pace, deep inhales and exhales. And of course, I'm keeping my head up so that I can keep talking to you, but if you wanted to drop your head down and release the back of your neck, you can also do that. And wherever you are, take one more long, deep breath. Beautiful. Let the exhale release you a little bit more. And then use your inhale to slowly, you can even use your hands for support, press yourself up. And remember to take time when you transition. Take maybe a breath here. Expand. And then pull your legs in. Let your head drop. And as you lay your head down, notice what you're feeling internally. Notice the sensations through the back of your body. Notice the state of your mind. Is it more calm? Are you more tired maybe? More relaxed? More present? Remember that your breath is your anchor, so if your mind is still drifting, you can bring it back by deepening your inhales and exhales. Good. And then when you're ready, you can come into a comfortable cross-legged position. Now, for those of you who have trouble sitting cross-legged, it's always helpful to have a cushion or a blanket underneath you to give you some support, because you want to really maintain the natural arch of your lower back. You can really sit in any position. Just a simple cross-legged position is fine. Now, the thing that you want to do is have space so you can swing from side to side a little and stretch the lower back. We're going to do a Qi Gong exercise called opening the heavenly pillar, and that's going to help to diminish any of the tension that may have accumulated in your lower back from moving that energy along the back body. So it's really simple. You just create small circles. Circular motion is really important in your yoga practice, really in any kind of physical practice you do, because we say that qi moves in circles. So you want to circulate it more freely by going in this circular motion. So you can start with really small circles, and then once you get more comfortable, you can make it a little bit bigger. So you can start to go back and forth a little bit. Just make sure your hips stay level, you're not swinging your whole body, just the upper part. And breathe as you move. Let's do a few more. Good, and then let's reverse direction. So you'll start really small. It helps to visualize a clock, right? You want to hit every hour of the clock, so you're not just like going side to side or forward back. You're really drawing a nice even circle with your hips. And you can feel there's abdominal engagement in the movement. Good. And as you get the hang of it, you can start to make the circles larger. Always breathing deeply. Because you're just exercising, not really doing yoga or qigong or any of the more mindful practices if you're not breathing. That doesn't really get you as deep into your body. It also doesn't help free the stagnation if you're holding your breath. And that's really our goal, is to free the stagnation so that you can be more free, you can be more flexible. Good, let's do a couple more. Very good. And then interlace your fingers. You're going to extend your arms over your head. And what I want you to do is actually bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Really extend the sides of your body long. When you inhale, you're going to lift, and then as you exhale, you're going to tilt slowly over to one side. Now the hip opposite where you're swinging toward, right? So if I'm moving to my left, I want to press that right hip down. Still keeping the fingers interlaced. Tuck your tailbone a little bit. Keep your arms extended. One more breath. Very good. Inhale, come up. And then exhale over to the other side. So now you're really trying to release any tension along the gallbladder meridian, which runs along the sides of the body. Gallbladder is really about rotating, pivoting, making decisions. So once you have the bladder meridian free, then you can pivot and make decisions. So once you are able to make a good decision, then you can start walking forward again, moving towards your goals. And one more breath as you exhale, go a little deeper. Inhale, come up slowly. Stretch nice and tall. Make sure you keep your rib cage pulled in slightly so you're not suffocating your breath, right? You want to draw in. Reach a little higher, inhale, and then just spiral your hands down as you exhale. You can rub your hands together. You can rub your hands on your lower back, releasing any remaining tension in that area. You can extend your legs and just kind of pat the sides and brush the inside. So pat down the leg and brush the inside of the leg. One more. And that's that. So doing this practice on a regular basis on your own, where you free this channel, will help you to really calm your nervous system. It's going to help you feel more free in every aspect of your life, because in order to move forward, you have to feel relaxed, right? In order to at least move forward comfortably in your life, not just be on autopilot doing the next and the next and the next. And what I'd like to hear from you in the comments is, what did you experience during this practice? How did you feel from start to finish? And if you don't necessarily remember the starting point, what are you experiencing now in this moment? And how does this give you perspective on what to do next? As always, thank you so much for being here with me. If you'd like to experience more practice and more resources, you can always visit my website, setaramoafi.com. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for being here and for practicing with me. Namaste.